get going, shall we? Hello. How's things? How's life? How's the universe? How has your week been? What's everybody been up to? How we doing? Hello, Ish. And the other people watching. Hello. How is everybody doing? Hello, Luca. How you doing? How's things? It's been a wee while. A bit more zoomed in than usual. I am. There we go. Yeah, hello. How is everybody doing? Just applying a policy to 2,000 users right now. Nice. What policy would that be? Yes, indeed. I've heard some horror stories, including this week, from developers. That yeesh. To allow ADDS file shares alongside Entra ID Kerberos ones. I'll pretend that I know what any of that means. Okay, I know what a file share is. I assume it's two probably enterprise-only proprietary, like, file shares up, but I don't know. Old auth and new auth to Azure file shares for SMB. Okay, fair enough. Well, I know what that means. Funnily enough, I'm not up to date on my my Azure credential scheme. In fact, I I don't know that I've ever used Azure. Maybe once? No, I've logged in once. And then gone, nah, and used AWS, DigitalOcean, Hetzner, OVH Cloud, basically anyone else. Hello, Simon. How you doing, man? How's things? Oh, Ish knows about Azure. Nice. Well, you're beating me to the punch. I've been using Azure DevOps at home. It's great and free. I also prefer Azure Storage over AWS buckets. Fair enough. I mean, as someone who is not really a web developer, like I've done web development things like locally, with an actual web developer friend. Um, I I don't need nor use much in the way of cloud, especially DevOps stuff. So yeah, I use a couple of different VPS solutions for various stuff, like um, DigitalOcean and Hetzner. But yeah. Yes, S3 buckets are good fun because people leave them completely open to the internet and insecure, uh, and then you can find very interesting stuff there. Hello, Ish. How you doing? How's things? I was saying that damn, you know about Azure. Nice. You beating me to the punch. And yeah, hello. How is everybody doing? How's things? I've had quite the busy week, actually. I've been writing another sort of essay on Intel. Um, and I've also been doing more development on my referral testing tool. Uh, with with some great sort of results. Uh, So previously, as if you're, regular here, you know that the peripheral testing tool that I've been developing has looked like this. You put your keyboard in the bottom, this is a linear actuator, this is a load cell, and basically it will like lower the motor down, push on the switch, read the force, and read the distances and actuation points, all that sort of stuff. This is cool. It's just not overly accurate, and especially with this stand, there's a lot of like flex and give in it, and so when you're trying to do like 0.01 millimeter precision, ideally, this flex ain't gonna cut it. So yeah, made some changes. Specifically, I found that you can get these, which is a stepper motor, a linear rail, and a lead screw carriage, bracket mounting, etc., for about the same price as what I paid for the like all that stuff. So this is great. There's like functionally no backlash in it. This acts as part of a stand. Like the stand will mount to the back and then mount, extra on the back here, etc. But yeah. So I'm gonna use this. I've been testing it. That's why it's plugged into my breadboard. And I have now designed a new PCB. In fact, I've designed basically all of the stuff for it already. Let me entertain you. Sorry, Robbie Williams stuck out. That one? Right, there we go. New PCB. So yeah. We have USB-C port, this is actually the top. It's kind of back to front. So USB-C ports, the microcontroller with the programming port, flash and the reset button, voltage regulator, the load cell chip with the pins for that, a 24-volt regulator, and the stepper motor controller. And then these are limit switches for the top and bottom, because the motor and motor controller don't have any way of doing like limiting, so I don't want it to crash into the end and lose steps and all that sort of stuff either way. Not that it should, but just in case. But yeah, I've added all that. And then on the modeling front, I've pretty much modeled everything. So we have this bit, which it goes on the back of the motor housing, or like the assembly, so it goes through those holes there. It has 2 pins to locate it, and then 2 screw holes. And if I pop the main body off, you can see that the screw holes go all the way through. You have the holes for the limit switches and space for the motor wiring to come through. You also have a foot that's sort of detachable for the back here. Basically, the idea is that I want to be able to also lay this on its side and use this for mouse testing. So that's why it is a detachable foot and a detachable, if I reposition this, mount. So this is the bit that goes on the carriage, the moving parts, and then this clips in there. You got the thumb screw that screws in, and then this is where the load cell attaches, goes out this way, etc. But you'll be able to detach this, attach it to the back of the main unit, and attach a different mouse attachment instead. So yeah, that's basically the idea, and it sort of kills 2 birds with 1 stone. You don't need to do any height adjustment, you just place it over the switch, and then it does all of the movement to find the sort of biting point, no matter how high or low it is. And yeah. So yeah, I've been busy. I once got $25,000 for 1 year credits from Azure. Nice. Once you have Visual Studio 2, you get £150 a month. Fair. VM-wise, I deploy stuff to Hetzner. But for licenses that I feel Azure handles a lot easier. Fair enough. Slide looks much cooler than the flexi hangman stand. Yeah, yeah. It just solves a lot of problems because, like, the stepper motor, I'm just doing single steps, and I think in theory that's 0.005 millimeter steps. So each, because it's 1.8 degrees per step, so 200 steps, and it's a 1 millimeter lead screw. That's 1 millimeter divided by 200, which is 0.005, which is half the resolution I'm looking for, or actually double the resolution I'm looking for if you say it that way, which is fantastic. So yeah. I'm afraid Silksong isn't for me. Ain't life grand as we all fall to pieces together? Status reports. I've not been great. I did start my at-home injections on Monday, so yeah. I'm sort of better and worse. It's complicated. And yeah. I've been in a lot of pain still. A lot of pain actually. Oh yeah. Yes, indeed. The injections are actually remarkably easy because it's an auto injector pen, but it's not intramuscular, it's intradermal. So it's the needle is like super tiny, and then you literally just like take the cap off, click it into, like, it literally clicks as it goes into your leg. You hold it there for like 5 seconds, it clicks, you then hold it for another 5 seconds, and then just lift it off, and then that's it, it's done. Which is weird, but really easy. It didn't hurt at all. In fact, actually just holding it there for the extra 5 seconds that you have to do to make sure that it's all definitely in, that that was the when it sort of hurt a tiny bit, but I barely, if any, felt it, which was great because I got to do it every 2 weeks for the rest of my life. Hello Joe, how you doing, man? How's things? How am I? Mixed. Surviving, I guess. It's probably the, yeah. Yeah. Not too bad. Been keeping busy lately with health and work. Fair enough. I mean, me too. I'm on the cusp of actually having a useful tool, hopefully. I I ordered those PCBs. When did I order them? Yesterday. So they'll probably be here by the end of next week, which is incredible. And yeah, and then I'll be able to actually do the proper development on it, testing on it, all that jazz. Oh, John, hello. You're busy driving, so can't attend the nerd gathering. We'll try and listen in a bit from time to time. Have a good one, man. Here you go. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing all right. Um, Thank you, Joe. I mean, like I was saying, the stepper motor is much more accurate and controllable. So my only potential concern right now is actually just power delivery because these motors are actually 24 volts. Um, Technically they can do up to point like 600 milliamps at 24 volts, which is obviously quite a lot of power. But the regulator that I've got should be fine for it. If I remember rightly. I should probably check that. Well, it's a bit late, I've already bought it, but anyway. What you call it? Come on, brain. I'm only running it at 80 to 100 milliamps at 24 volts, so that's decent. The downside is what do you call it? That the USB power is something like 400 or 500 milliamps, which should be fine. That's almost within the USB 2 spec anyway. And I use a USB-C connector with the correct CC pin, so I should be able to request more if you use a C2C cable from a Type-C port. But I don't know. I will do testing and work it out. I'm officially 71 pounds down now. Nice. Still got 100 to go though, so not that impressive comparatively. I mean, that's still great. I have not lost any, despite trying. So you're doing a lot better than me, and two, great. I only had a headache today, a bunch of paracetamol, and I lie down instead of lunch, and I can see clearly, stand still without waving, think straight, and no pain. Whoop whoop. Yeah, nice. I wish you a speedy recovery. Am I gonna collaborate with any other YouTubers soon? I mean, I'm kind of busy in my own world making tools and stuff, so uh, I don't tend to look outward very often. So the short answer is I don't have anything planned. I'm not against it. I'm not good at organizing things or making friends. Um, I mean, the thing is that you say once the tools are done, but one, they're never done. There's always more stuff you can add, and two, um, I do have some other things that I want to make. So yeah. Um, these new tablets help though. One helps my heart function, and the other makes me lose more weight. Fair enough. If they're helping and not hurting, awesome. Yeah, look, I mean, I'm not against collaboration. It's just I'm autistic. I don't talk to people very much. I barely talk to my own friends that often. So the idea of like reaching out to others to do collaborations, you kind of have to have, an idea in mind when you do, or some reason to do it. Um, yeah, I'm in my own little world. Um, yeah. One's a statin and the other is orlistat. both by the doc since being diagnosed with heart disease. All good fun. Fair, yeah. Any more track days? Have one on the 31st if the car's finished in time. Nice. Um, again, also not at the moment. I have that between my health being dreadful for the last like 2 years straight, like I have a doctor's appointment at least once a month currently, but some weeks I spend more time at the doctor's than I do working. um, like I have another gastro appointment, and I've got a blood test next Monday, and then a gastro appointment the Monday after that. So like, I'm in the hospital a lot. I've got hydrotherapy the week after that week as well for the next 3 or 4 weeks, whatever. Like, yeah. Uh, Bandy, you're Scottish. Isn't health issues a national obligation? I mean, I guess so, yeah. If only MSI reassembled the Dragon Squad for a launch, like the 90 series AMD cards or the new Threadripper or something. I mean, yeah, I would definitely take a trip. Uh, that's okay-ish. I know it's in jest. Mm. Yeah, exactly. And like, there's a bit of truth in it, so you know. Um, I don't know that I'm the one who's allowed to say or agree with that, but fair enough. Oh dear. Oh yeah, and I've done something probably stupid, but also I'm kind of proud of it. So you know I have the solar power. Like I'm actually powering this stream off of solar right now. Um, like but all three of my monitors, both of my NASs and my desk PC are all like my main PC that you know I'm streaming from, etc. That is all powered from solar right now, which is awesome. Um, the one thing is that when the solar power runs out, right now what I do is I get up and I unplug my UPS and plug it back into the grid. And then when it really runs out, I unplug the monitors and plug them back into the grid. And it'd be great if I didn't have to do that. If it just did it automatically when the battery was, you know, running out, just switch back over to grid power. And the thing is that there isn't really a device that exists that does that, at least in the way that I want to. There are a couple of automatic changeover switches which, when power is like disappears from one side, a motor physically turns two breakers on and off. Uh, but the power doesn't actually turn off. I just want to not use it. So that doesn't really work. And also the switchover time is like seconds, as in like it's off for a couple seconds before it turns back on. And I want a faster switchover so that the devices don't even know that there's a switchover that's happened. Like tens of milliseconds, your devices can handle losing power and then regaining it. It's only if it's longer periods that that's a problem. Um, and there is one automatic changeover switch that's like digital and even will take the solar battery voltage in. But the problem is that I would then need to run an AC cable outside to feed it, because it'd have to be with the solar battery, or try and run a DC cable, but then the voltage drop would be dreadful. Basically, nothing really worked, and they're all kind of expensive, and so I made my own. It's a bit janky, I'll give you that. But it's got breakers and everything. So basically inside here is a relay board that switches the live and neutrals. We have proper MCBs. Yes. A DIN rail 5-volt power supply for an ESP32, and an ESP32 that's controlling everything, and output of 2 input plugs for grid and solar. And yeah, it works. The switches are interlocked so that it can't ever have both grid and power on, like solar, at the same time. When it does the switch over, I checked with the oscilloscope, there's a 10 millisecond delay between the relay signal, input, and the relay actually changing. So there's 10 milliseconds there, and then I've added an extra 10 millisecond delay, so it will always turn one off first, wait 10 milliseconds, and then turn the other one on. And actually, to answer Ish's question, this is the great thing. The ESP is powered from that DIN rail power supply. That DIN rail power supply is powered from solar. That's important because I've wired the relays so that grid power is connected to the normally closed sections, and the solar is connected to normally open. So turning on all 4 relays connects solar. Turning all of them off connects grid. And the fun thing is that if the ESP ever loses power, it will just default to using grid power. For the simple reason that the way that I've wired it, that makes the most sense. If the solar power gets turned off, or like faults and fails, the whole unit shuts off and defaults to basically just a straight pass-through from grid to this. So this just acts as a single, like, plug socket extension, you know, with a 10 amp fuse, I must add, to protect the relays. And yeah, it works. The reason that it's not currently plugged in is that I want to 100% make sure that it's right. So I'm doing some more testing, probably after the stream tonight, just to make sure that it cannot fault, it cannot put the two together. Which is a problem because the inverter that I have, is a slightly different voltage to the grid. The grid here is actually like 245, 250 volts, which is a bit high, rather than the 235 that the inverter in the shed offers, which is bang on. And so yeah, because it's not a grid following inverter, it would clash and be bad times. Although that's why both inputs are fused, at least the lives are fused. But the lives and neutrals are both switched, but the grounds are common, so that everything is still grounded. So yeah. I love the 1000% Scottish redneck ingenuity there. I'm all for it. It's janky, and if it doesn't work, it's dodgy. If it's janky and it works, then it's genius. Exactly. I'm hoping it's the latter. I saw your 8 versus 16 gig video. You forgot to mention how broken modern games are, like Monster Hunter Wild, and I assume that's Final Fantasy. Well, I kind of talked about that, especially in the second video, because I think a lot of people that feel you need, like, 8 gigabytes is just criminal right now, are referencing those what I would call unoptimized and like badly optimized games. Um, so yes, I did and I didn't. How many kilowatt solar panels do I need for 3 air conditioning units for 8 to 10 hours of use? Well, okay. Depends on the units. Depends on uh, where you are in the world. And really, it depends on time of usage. Air conditioning units are generally like it depends how big they are, but home air conditioning units are generally between like 1 and, especially if they're outdoor units, like 3 kilowatts, give or take. So that's 3,000 watts. Each solar panel is give or take between like 4 and 600 watts, depending on if you go for the fancy new ones or like the ones that I have are 400 watts. So just for one AC unit, conservatively, you need 3 panels. Or not conservatively. Uh, Liberally? I don't know. Optimistically, you need 3 panels. If it's a 3 kilowatt unit, then you need almost 10 panels, right? If you have 3 of those 3 kilowatt units, then yeah, 20 to 30 panels. You'll also need storage for that energy, because unless you're using those air conditioning units exclusively during peak production throughout the day, so bearing in mind that solar panels do not just instantly produce that 400 watts each the second that there is a sliver of light. It's a very slow ramp, peak, and then very slow curve again. You end up needing much more capacity and storage for it. And also, if you're using it at night, then you need even more storage because there's no energy topping the batteries up. So yeah, quite a lot is the short answer. Quite a lot. But if you're in, I don't know, Saudi Arabia, where the sun is very, very bright throughout a lot of the day, then, you're going to collect more energy than if you're up here in Britain, where we get the full power from solar panels for 2 or 3 months of a year, and then they're basically useless for the rest of the time. Which is why I want to build a wind turbine too. So yeah, there you go. Texas summer, exactly. Horrendous. Um, air conditioning units, when operating properly, are bursty like fridges. But shit ones. I'm pointing to my portable air conditioner over there. That's pretty much constant, yeah. Don't some charge controllers do that kind of thing with feeds into UPS battery pack? Yes, some do. Mine doesn't. And again, I would need to run power out to it. To be honest, the other thing that I was considering doing was basically just having a 24-volt charge controller, like mains charger. That would still require me to run another cable to the shed, or run a 5-core armor cable out to the shed, so that I can have live neutral going out and then live and neutral coming back, and then you can either have that automatic changeover switch, or you can just have a charger in there that charges the battery at night, whatever. If you have a flex rate, then like with your energy supplier, then you can use the flex rate to charge the battery, like top it up overnight, and then profit. Uh, but yeah, I don't have any of those things, so yeah. Stop rubbing your in. Your hair is glorious. Casually stroking it and showing it off. What this? I don't know what you mean. No, just gets itchy. And also, one thing that you learn when you do have longer hair is Jesus Christ, it all falls out all the time, and I don't know, you put it up. There you go. There's you have a shower and you wash it, fistful of hair. It's genuinely horrifying, but apparently you get used to it. I haven't yet. Christ. Nah, man. Horrifying. What are we talking about? 8 GB golden GPU golden price is $180 to $200. Well, I believe that's about what they are. I mean, in the UK, they're 200 and something, 220 quid, give or take. 200, 220, whereas the 16 gig is a lot more. I mean, it's 100, £110 more, so it's 350, 360, whatever it is. Depending on the model, there's about £100 range of, like, you can buy an 8 gig card that gets worryingly close to the cheapest 16 gig card. So if that was your metric, then yeah, buy the 16. But if you're looking at like cheapest to cheapest, it's still about £100 more for the 8 gig, for the 16 gig over the 8. And so again, for the right kind of person, I don't think it's a war crime for you to buy one. There you go. But yeah, I've been busy. I'm actually keeping an eye on the solar battery voltage to know when I need to switch it over. And I'm very much looking forward to automating that away so that I can, just use the power as needed. So yeah, I'm gonna do some more testing after the stream and then put it into use. I've got the daunting task of finally getting my studio electric connected soon. I think I'm gonna have to pay someone to do it. Fair enough. I am stupid enough, or more specifically, I know enough to get myself in trouble. And so besides the really big stuff that you need a certificate for, like I will probably need a new consumer unit because I only have one spare way left in the already newer consumer unit that I had. So if we do want stuff like air conditioning, that kind of needs to be on its own circuit. If we want to add even just a plug socket out the front, like I could just do it from a spur from the plug socket that is on that wall already, but I'd prefer to have it as a higher amp or like higher amp rated cable so that you could upgrade it to an EVSE, like home charger if you wanted to later, which I don't know, might do all right for home values, I guess. Yeah. I've got those breakers in place, 2 of them. All the wiring is in place. 10mm 63 amp from the main RCD to a 63 amp breaker, then 10mm armored cable to the studio breaker, light ring from that, and then 24 sockets. Nice. Higher cables have higher current ratings. It's not necessarily about the losses directly. I mean, obviously, the thinner the cable, the hotter it tends to get. But yeah, so I have opted for 1mm square cable for this project, but actually I have some offcuts here. So like this neutral wire is 1mm square. It looks tiny, but this is rated for 16 amps. So for safety factor, I'm only running 10 amps through it. At most, like that's peak. It will never see 10 amps, but safety. So like this is the copper ground electrode, which is meant to be smaller, but I'm pretty sure it's all the it's all the same. In larger cables, the ground conductor is thinner, but in 1mm cable, it's already as thin as it's gonna get. But yeah, so like obviously you wouldn't run a standard socket with this. It'd be 2mm cable, I think. But I'd want to run maybe 6mm cable from the consumer unit, which is basically on the other side of the wall that the camera's on. Sort of up and over and then down to run a plug outside, so that you could then upgrade it to 7 kilowatt EVSE. What's the I need to do some quick maths. Hold on. If it's 7 kilowatts, let's say 200 watts, that's 30 amps. Okay. Either 6 or 10mm cable, I don't remember which one it is, but yes. I've forgotten what I was saying. That would need its own spur, its own circuit, its own way on the panel. So, yeah, I find it funny they call it square when round is a better description. So 1mm diameter or whatever. Yeah, it's just 1mm squared like area. But yeah, I know what you mean. Is it true on-grid solar will get power cut if there's a power cut in the area, on-grid or off-grid? Which one did I choose? It depends on your installation and depends where the gateway and cutoff is. Some systems do have essentially no isolators between the grid and solar, and therefore if it detects a power outage, for the safety of the linemen working on the lines, it will shut off, yes. Whereas some systems, good systems, I would argue, have their isolation at the grid input side. So the grid becomes a secondary input source with its own isolator, so that if the grid does lose power, the solar power system can disconnect from the grid and become off-grid for that time. And then when the grid does power back up, it can then resynchronize with that grid and then close the contactors and reconnect and then start either exporting or importing power. But yes, it depends on the system. I have a fully off-grid solution. That's why I need an automatic changeover switch. Because it is not connected to any of my house wiring. I've run separate wiring for it. And yeah, and I switch between. Yeah. The thing that he's doing now is connecting that cable to the main breaker, which is scary stuff. Yeah, I mean, like changing consumer units, like I was saying, is something that I will not do. But like adding sockets, adding lights, that sort of stuff. Yeah. I mean, I've dramatically made the wiring in my loft like orders of magnitude safer and more serviceable and more reliable. The what was up there was an old Bakelite connection like roundel that was dreadful. Uh, all of the grounds were just wrapped around the bottom, but not labeled or anything. So it was just bare copper twisted around the bottom, and that was the only thing holding it shut. By the way, um, so yeah, that was great. It was a complete mess. It was all covered in coal dust from the last 100 years. Uh, and yeah, so I turned off the power and I redid the entire wiring in the loft. I've also added a few new lights and switches and stuff, and so I've improved that too. Used some nice proper Vago terminals, and yeah, it all now works. It's all now safe. It's all now EICR compliant, which is fun. Um, yeah, better. Oh yeah, I have a new mouse in to test that I'm actually kind of interested. I mean, I'm interested in lots of them, but this one I'm personally interested in, I guess. It's from Keychron, which one, I didn't know they made mice, and two, it's basically a Logitech MX Master clone, but it's like $40 instead of like 100. Uh, it still has a metal infinite scroll wheel. It's got a new sensor. In fact, a new 1000 hertz sensor, which is rare because I think the MX Masters are still 500 hertz only. Um, I don't know if it has the button on this, like the push down button, like the gesture button. I use that for refresh a lot, so I'm definitely going to be like looking to map that somewhere if there is a spare button or something. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to trying it out. It also shouldn't have the horrible rubber coating that degrades real quick. Um, so yeah, I finished the Intel essay that I've been working on this week today, which is a bit earlier than I expected. So I'll probably be filming and testing that tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. What else have I got? Oh yeah, as tomorrow you're gonna see the SteelSeries keyboard that I was talking about a week or so ago, a week or two ago. Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago because I had just started doing it 2 weeks ago. Damn. So yeah, you're gonna see that, uh, and then on Monday it's the SteelSeries in-ears that I also was looking at 2 weeks ago, or a week ago now. Um, yeah, yeah. I like SteelSeries as a brand. Well, you might not like these. Um, yeah, yeah. I Both products cost quite a lot. I will leave it at that. Good, good. Thank you, Ish. Some of the Keychron mice have funny wireless receivers. Funny how? Um, Also, sorry, I'm gonna sit far away. My back hurts quite a lot. It's a mini keyboard. Oh, that's cool. That is cool. That's sweet. I like that. I'll have to see. I think it's the M6 Plus, I think it is. The M6 oh no, the M6 Lite, that's it. Uh that has two receivers. It has a USB-A and a Type C receiver. Um but like I said, I'll be actually like taking it out of the box and testing it tomorrow, so that'll be cool. Different polling rates. So there is actually an 8 kilohertz version of the Keychron M6. They did offer me that one, but I said, nah, I'll take the new 1 kilohertz one because it's a productivity mouse. It's not a gaming mouse. You don't need 8,000 hertz. I mean, I think you kind of barely need 8 kilohertz for gaming. It's only for a sort of niche subset. Like it is better. It doesn't often, if any, cost them anything to do. So like, not I'm not upset at 8 kilohertz. You just for a wireless productivity mouse, you just don't need it. There's no latency advantage. So yeah, meh. I really like the HP 2.4 and Bluetooth mouse recently. Nice, fair enough. Um, I will I will report back how the Keychron one goes. Because like Keychron makes some incredible stuff, and actually one of the funny things is that like that SteelSeries Apex Pro Gen 3, I think it is, um, costs about the same or more than the like fully metal Keychron. I think it's like Q3 Max that I use for testing upstairs. Like it's a hefty thing, and it has like free shipping, bro. Oh. There seems a lot of devices on 2.4. I live in a terraced house, and there's all sorts of stuff: Wi-Fi, IoT, speakers, etc. Yeah, I mean, 2.4 is a pretty crowded band. Um, it's kind of funny. I've been working on a project with 433 megahertz radios. Um, like I've got a couple of little EFOB type things. And what's funny is that obviously these are paired to like receiver boards and stuff. But like when I press the button, like I'm scared that I'm like activating something in my neighborhood. Like uh, am I turning on someone's like I don't know. I mean, we don't have garage doors here, but like, am I opening someone's garage door by pressing this by accident? Um, So that's a fun one to consider. um, Occasionally a badly shielded microwave. True. I do have where is it? Around here somewhere I have an RTL SDR, Realtek software defined radio, which can do 2.4 gigahertz, which is a bit of a shame it's not fast enough, but it can do 433 megahertz and that sort of stuff. And it's interesting to see how crowded or not those spaces are. Um, yeah, it's quite cool. It would be cool to get an SDR that can do 2.4 gigahertz, um, but I don't care that much. If I have a project for something, then I can get it. Like I can sort of justify it, but if it's just have as a toy, meh. Like getting a universal remote and changing a couple people's TV channels at once. Yeah, something like that. Like that's the fear. Yeah. What am I messing with if by pressing those buttons? The answer is probably nothing, because that you do have to pair them to the receiver. But yeah. Um, HP 430 is good, just doesn't have infinite scroll. Well, the interesting thing is that the Keychron one does have infinite scroll, which is pretty cool. Um, Also, you don't really exactly have time to go playing with a Flipper Zero or warp driving like Google did with street mapping. Yes, yes, exactly. I don't have a Flipper Zero. Would be cool to have one for sure, but it's a decent amount of money for what would amount to a toy for me. Using the Model D wireless at the moment, so if Keychron is good, I'll swap to that. Fair enough. Nice. Yes, and stalking. But also useful tracking of stuff. Like there have been a number of people who have used it to track really interesting stuff like packages. I saw a YouTube short about a guy who donated his like you know running shoes, sneakers, whatever you want to call them, to a like Oxfam charity uh drop off, whatever. Probably wasn't Ox. It was like the Red Cross or something, and it ended up in a like just a discount store in another country. So he flew to the country and got his shoe like bought his shoes back. um, so yeah, and like people catching people like stealing their cars and motorbikes and stuff. Like there are plenty of legitimate uses. Just if there are legitimate uses, there are almost always illegitimate uses. So yeah. Hmm. I'm trying to think if there's been any releases or anything recently, but we're kind of in the waiting period between all the launches, aren't we? Hmm. I think some high-end power tools have similar things too. Snapple ones have Bluetooth radios, but if I remember correctly, that's more for telemetry. Yeah, Milwaukee has what called? I can't remember, but Milwaukee has Bluetooth in versions of their like impact tools and drills and angle grinders and stuff. Part of that is telemetry. Part of that, I think it's called like one key. So it is sort of security as well. So like you've got to be able to like tap a fob or your phone or something, or your phone's got to be in range or whatever to unlock the tool to let it work. Um, I think that's more for like job site security and like tool theft and stuff. Um, but yeah, I'm afraid I haven't, Luco. Um, I mean, I haven't played much to be honest. That's I've been busy inventing things. Yeah. Tools being stolen is no joke. Will be nice when serials can be registered, because the replacement cost for a builder, Sparky, etc. to restock is massively more than the resale value to fences. Yeah, for sure. And like when it's the tools that you require to make a living as well, that extra sucks, because if it's just your like hobby thing, whatever, obviously that sucks, but you can still earn your living. But if you're like the things that you require to make a decent life for yourself are stolen from you, that sucks. It's horrible. Especially because contractors almost always buy their own tools. Like you're not stealing from a company, you're stealing from a guy. So yeah. Anyway, I think I'm gonna leave it there. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I hope you all stay safe. I hope you all have fun. And I will see you all tomorrow for a video, Monday for a video, and next week for a stream. All right. I'll catch you all then.